Elbows up? It's been more like elbows down. Mark Carney was elected to stand tough and stand tall against Trump's trade war. But behind the scenes, he quietly folded. Just days before the French language debate, Mark Carney was all fired up about Ottawa slapping counter-tariffs on the US, accusing Trump of betrayal and threatening crushing force. He vowed to fight Trump and called the US no longer a reliable trading partner. However, on April 16th, Mark Carney started to, let's be honest, pull a sneaky U-turn. He ordered a secret lifting of all the counter-tariff measures without telling the public. That's your elbows down right there. Strong jawboning in public and then quietly putting his tail between his legs and doing exactly the opposite in private. Now fast forward to June, Canada introduced a digital service tax on US tech companies operating in Canada, and Trump immediately threatened to shut down trade talks, calling the Canadian countermeasures a direct threat against US sovereignty. And then what did Carney do? He immediately rescinded the tax just to get a phone call to start negotiations again with Donald Trump. In public, he launched a direct unifying message like the One Canadian Economy Act to keep our focus inward instead of the US, but all the while keeping our razors sheathed. Make no mistake, Carney's rhetoric was libertarian flavored, promising fights, promising action. But in reality, it's elbows down. Always a retreat every single time. You want real strength in trade? You don't get it from fancy press conferences or retaliatory tariffs. You get it from unleashing the market. Tariffs actually hurt your own people. Every dollar that a Canadian spends on a retaliatory tariff is a dollar taken away from a consumer. It's a dollar taken away from the producers in the economy. If Mark Carney really knew how to punish Trump unilaterally, you could show the world that Canada believes in true capitalism, not a managed economy. Ludwig von Mises said that the philosophy of protectionism is a philosophy of war. And Frederick Bastiat said that when goods do not cross borders, soldiers will. Let the consumers vote with their dollars. Let producers compete without bureaucrats picking who wins. If Carney was really serious about protecting Canada's interests, he wouldn't be manipulating policy or manipulating the currency. He would fight for sound money. But he won't, because he's part of the problem. Mark Carney is a product of central banking, the very institution that distorts prices, misleads investors, and punishes savers. He built his career manipulating interest rates, devaluing the currency, and bailing out failure. That's not leadership. That's technocratic tinkering at the expense of real people. And liberal voters bought it hook, line, and sinker. They said, he's an economist, but they didn't realize that economics is a dismal science and that it's rooted in subjective praxeology, not objective mathematical assertions. This is why government policies fail over and over. You cannot accurately predict, even with a large margin of error, the actions of individual actors, you and me, acting in an economy, making decisions. And if you are going to control the economy, which is what Mark Carney is used to, his policies being a central banker, the only way those policies can be successful is if you put the people under abject authority. When a central bank prints money or lowers interest rates, it distorts the real signals sent to the market. That leads to malinvestment, debt bubbles, and eventual economic crashes. The boom and bust cycle of the economy does not come from the free market. It comes from central bank policies, which is what Mark Carney is used to making. Let's be honest, Mark Carney is not a capitalist. He's a central planner. And central planners make really bad politicians. Number one, they're used to acting in secrecy. They're technocrats. hiding all of their things that they do from the public because they don't need to disclose what they normally do. Number two, they believe in control, not freedom. They think the economy needs to be steered, not liberated. Number three, they serve the system, not the people. Their jobs are to protect the large national big banks, not small business owners. And number four, they don't understand the market. They don't understand the signals that the market provides. They only understand policy targets and policy models. Mark Carney ran a printing press for a job, bailing out banks, monetizing deficits, and bailing out risk takers. And now we're supposed to believe that he's going to be some principled political leader? You can't central plan your way to prosperity. And I think Friedrich Hayek said it best. The curious task of economics is to demonstrate to man how little they know about what they intend to design. At the end of the day, every decision, every flip-flop that Carney makes is a top-down decision. But true prosperity doesn't come from top-down government decisions. It comes from the bottom up in our economy. It comes from people willing to make voluntary exchange with their hard-earned money. I say let the provinces and businesses bypass Ottawa's blundering hands and make deals on their own. When government gets out of the way, innovation flourishes, prices fall, and the economy wins. You see, Carney's problem isn't that he's too soft or too hard on Trump. His problem is that he thinks the economy is a chessboard and that only he is the grand master champion. But in a free market, no one sits at the top. No one directs trade. People direct trade. You direct trade. So here's the real policy. Get out of the way, Mark. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can be informed of the next video that's coming out next week. Until then, talk soon and be safe.